if you were catching our show yesterday, we spoke about this horrific story that took place in Georgia, the story of Ahmaud Arbery, a 25-year-old African-American male who was jogging down the street by all accounts, really hunted down by two white men who thought that he was seen in a neighborhood looking through a house that was under construction. They followed him with guns. They ambushed him. A physical confrontation ensued, and this young man was shot and killed for no reason other than the fact that these two dopes thought that they were vigilantes and they could just, they thought they were police officers. It is an absolute disgusting, disgraceful situation. And I said, I'm not sure if they're going to be charged with murder. I just wasn't sure about that. Not that I don't think they are murderers. Make no mistake about it. I think they are. Well, now, ladies and gentlemen, they both have been charged with murder. These two dopes, or as I like to call them, Grand Wizard Clan members, who hunted this African-American down. Gregory McMichael and his father were arrested yesterday, charged with murder. Right now they are behind bars. And they might not, it is very fair to say that Gregory and his son Travis might not see the light of day for many, many years. There's going to be a lot of pressure on the prosecutors.
And that's earned. That is warranted.
And rightfully so.
Yes. That has been murder one.
So a couple prominent people have spoken out about this. In fact, a lot of people have.
Yeah.
And I agree with a lot of the comments I've seen on social media. Don't agree with all of them. Let me start with the President of the United States, because he was asked about this. And, I guess you could just assume that he's not going to show leadership when it comes to anything. At least that's my opinion. But Donald Trump was asked about this case. Remember, this was yesterday. I believe it was it this morning or was it yesterday where Donald Trump made these remarks?
This is this morning on Fox and Friends.
So this is after these two, keep in mind, have been charged with murder. Donald Trump was asked about this case. Here's what he had to say. Have a listen to this.
It could be something that we didn't see on tape. There could be a lot of, if you saw things went off tape and then back on tape. But it was a troubling, to anybody that watched it, certainly it was a disturbing or troubling video. No question about that.
So the first thing he thinks of, the first thing that comes to Donald Trump's head, well, there could be some things we didn't see on tape. Now, why would he say something like that? In defense, possibly, of these two men who committed this horrible murder. The first thing that enters Donald Trump's head is not, oh, my God, thoughts and prayers for this young man's family. We have to do something about racial injustice. No, that's not the first thing the first thing that enters Donald Trump's mind is defending these two white people, okay? These two dopes, these two Klan members. The first thing that enters Donald Trump's mind is, you heard it, ladies and gentlemen, well, there might have been some things we didn't see on tape, and then it went back to the tape, and then that's how Donald Trump's mind works, because he has zero empathy for anybody. Although it sounded in that clip that he might have empathy for the two that committed this crime. That's the first thing that entered his mind. Do we remember Charlottesville? There are good people on both sides. I don't even want to talk about Donald Trump when it comes to stuff like this because it's so disgusting. It disgusts me the way that he reacted to this.
And I have to totally disagree with the way he acted as well, or reacted to it. And that was the first thing he said there, Brian.
Yeah,
that was the very first thing he said.
No, it wasn't the first.
It wasn't okay.
No, he did the requisite. I feel bad for the family.
Okay,
but this was definitely one of his first.
Because if that was the first thing he said, the actual first thing he said, then Brian's reaction would be warranted. But I have to disagree.
Well, I think what Brian's point is that this is what he said on the first day that he reacted to it. When he first learned of the arrest,
right.
One of his first thoughts, his first reactions, was, "Hey, maybe there's something on the tape," and that's what he said.
When I want to hear the president talk about racial injustice, okay, the fact that an African American man could be jogging down the street and be ambushed and murdered, I don't want to hear the president of the United States talk about, well, you know what? Maybe this might have happened. The tape was off here and there.
And I'm not interested in actually looking at the tape, because if there was some type of inconsistency on the tape that would support those two gentlemen, then they wouldn't have had to actually create a new narrative and basically make up a lie about a home invasion, have the police lie to Ahmaud Arbery's mother, and then have it basically go up the totem pole and turn this into a giant cover-up. That would, had that not taken place, you could argue maybe there was something else to be seen.
Now I'm going to take the other.
But the fact that did take place, to me, means that I don't care what's on that tape. These guys are guilty of murder.
I'm going to take the other side. As you know, LeBron James is not a big Donald Trump supporter. I thought LeBron James made some very ignorant comments. But before I get to that, we'll play LeBron James' comments coming up next. But the way that the right handled this story. Now, well, Brian, what do you mean by that? Why are you attacking the right, Brian? Well, if you watched Fox News yesterday, there were only a couple minutes of coverage when it came to this story. What was Fox News and right-wing radio talking about? Well, Sean Hannity didn't cover this at all. He didn't, not on his show last night. Laura Ingraham did 2 minutes on it as a side piece. Tucker Carlson didn't cover this at all. Mark Levin didn't cover this at all. You know what they covered yesterday? They covered the Michael Flynn case, but even more important, this is something that I find to be very, very telling and very, very important with how they covered this whole thing. A woman by the name of Shelley Luther. If you don't know who Shelley Luther is, okay, it was an unprecedented health crisis, okay, in her state, in Texas. And County Judge Clay Jenkins issued an emergency order that required sheltering in place and temporarily closed most public businesses. She owns a salon. Texas Governor Greg Abbott also followed his own statewide order. And in that shutdown of that hair salon, this woman refused. She broke the law. It was a statewide order. Police showed up. She refused to shut it down. And the judge threw her in jail. She wouldn't apologize. Now, the right is making her out to be some sort of hero. She's the opposite of that. She did this for PR. She did this for the interview. She did this to help her business. She did this to get her name out there. She is an awful human being as far as I'm concerned. She wants to claim that it was about her 18 employees. This was all about my employees. Well, you're not the only one that owns a small business. Everybody owns small businesses throughout that state. So the right-wing radio, right-wing television, Trump TV, Fox News, they decided little to no coverage of Ahmaud Arbery in this lynching. But what they did decide to do was paint out this woman who owns a salon to be some sort of hero.
Yeah.
And make no mistake about it,
I think
she is the opposite of that.
Well, I don't think that she is not a hero. Obviously, she had to stay open for a couple of reasons. Maybe she didn't get a PPP loan or whatever the
Doesn't
reasons.
matter. There was a statewide order in place.
Bottom line, the two stories should have been General Flynn and this massive case of racial injustice.
Well, like I said,
because again, had this video not come out, those two guys most likely would have gotten away with it.
well, like I agree.
And Fox News or any right-wing publication, typically right-wing publication or network, not bringing this up, it is not good for just racial injustice or for racial relations across the country.
Let me be very clear on this.
Opinion.
Not just local radio and local I'm talking about nationally syndicated talk show hosts that some of whom I just hold on a second, some of whom I just mentioned did not even mention this case. They wanted to talk about this. I mean, listen, Sean Hannity on his television show last night did an interview with Shelley Luther, which is just a disgrace as far as I am concerned, painting her out to be some sort of hero when we had this lynching that went on in Georgia. Now, why is that, folks? Why is right-wing radio and right-wing television not covering and giving this the attention that it deserves? Why is that?
Well, I will tell you this. Ivanka Trump did just make a tweet. While the arrest of 2 suspects in the shooting of Ahmaud Arbery is a critical step towards justice, the question that needs to be asked is why it seemingly took months, the release of a video and corresponding public outrage to catalyze action. And that's the question. That exact statement is what every single national host should have been talking about last night.
Okay, well, I'm not going to give Ivanka Trump any credit like all of a sudden she's a champion for African Americans.